Edition of our Millennial Master Class Series. About to get started. Shout out to my man Dr. English, Jacob, for the merch. Loving my journey. Follow at Fort Chambers.
You set up over here, you know, the busy little. You're
good. You're good. I appreciate you just coming on.
Hey, what's up?
I'm good. How about yourself? How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. Well, again, first off, thank you for coming onto the platform. I'm looking forward to today's discussion. So we're about to get started.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it.
Perfect. So starting off, going through your page, I love what I see, entrepreneurship. You're getting after it. What instilled that, and also who instilled that spirit in you to just have, financial freedom and to get started in entrepreneurship? How'd that start for you?
Well, really, it started with my own family. The 1980s were no joke for farm families or for people just, income-wise. And so around that time, a bunch of our family members all just kind of pushed, right, collectively. Grandma kind of let us know, hey, got to do something. And so a lot of our family members went to the military. We had some who became nurses. Other people became police officers. And it was a kind of collective push, pushing forward. And my first job as a 14-year-old, which is years later down the road after that, was my cousin's dollar store, right? Wow. But this wasn't like a franchise dollar store. This was like before you could just go online and order stuff from China. Yeah. He went and got a catalog, and he was calling and ordering from the catalog. And so people in the 90s who ordered things are what we would call drop shipping now would know what I'm talking about. But he, got it all shipped in, and that was my first job at 14. Was like this unique dollar store, and we had it closer to Spring Lake in North Carolina.
Wow, that's super cool. And then two, seeing somebody that's involved in the trucking industry, I think that's so cool because I don't see that too often. How did you get started in that industry as well with trucking?
Well, the crazy thing is I have an uncle, and my cousin passed away, but at the time he called it Chavis and Sons Trucking, and we were kind of distantly informed on how well he was doing. Like, he had a nice house, he had nice stuff. We kind of knew he made a lot of money as a trucker, right? And they owned this trucking company, but we didn't understand the ins and outs. But when I was hanging out with Hood Estates, Pocky and Sandy, and I started hanging out with the people, I started picking up information. Like, okay, what is the big thing about trucking? And it's ownership. When I really started getting into trucking, everybody that really was doing it were owners. And what do I mean by that? I mean, who were the dispatchers? Who were the brokering companies? Who purchased the trucks? Who were the shippers overseas? Ukrainians, Bosnians, people that had the money pie, really, control of it, were on the other side of trucking. They weren't driving, they were owning. Same things when it comes to parking lots, right? The Flying Days, the Loves, where people park their trucks. You know how much money is running through their doors every day? Yeah. And you're just coming in getting drinks and beef jerky and gas, and the numbers add up.
Facts.
And so that kind of got my mind sparked on like, okay, long term, the money is in ownership. And then real long term, there's something I keep saying on a lot of videos, and people may see me say it, all roads lead through real estate. So who made money regardless if trucking went up or down? Truck parking lots, right? Truck parking, RV parking, storage parking, land. People who own land is where it makes a difference. Because I hear a lot of people say, what's the importance of land? And I'm like, if you don't know that by now, I really can't teach you anything.
I like that. So for those people who may not know, but who do want to know, what are some baby steps that we could do to learn more about real estate?
So I would say some baby steps is just first taking an inventory of where you live and the prices, right? So one of the biggest things, and I'm not knocking wholesalers, I think wholesalers do an amazing job. They help solve problems for people. But when you talk to people, they don't even know the prices in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know, like, what's the common numbers in the neighborhood. That's why when people talk about, oh, they're gentrifying us, it's only after stuff gets fixed that they start calling around, want to know the price of this new house, when they've been living in that neighborhood, either renting or living for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Got you.
So first things first, when it comes to real estate, you need to know your numbers. You need to know what the price of the houses are and the land is around you, right? Yeah. And then you go from there. You go from there up, because the knowledge is what you need, is the foundation of all of it. It's
Facts.
the knowledge. So if someone tells me, hey, Ericka, you know what I want to do? I want to invest in a bunch of rentals. Well, what I asked you, what's the price of the neighborhood you want to be in? Well, now if you know the price, okay, San Antonio might be your place. Houston might be where you invest in. San Marcos, North Austin, Round Rock. Once you know the numbers, that's where it helps and benefits you to get started in real estate.
Got you. And something that I love too was on your blog where you were breaking down about the trucking industry, the do's and the don'ts, what you learned. And something that I thought that was powerful was how you broke down investment groups. For people who are starting businesses during this time, how do we establish investment groups, and what type of investors or people should we know to reach out to, all that good stuff? So
here's first, you got to put in your mind right now, wholesalers are still wholesaling, flippers are still flipping, real estate agents are still selling. Someone had it on their Instagram the other day where it was a sold out, like people standing around the block near the Bronx, I think it was. It was a legal 3-family. I love how he said legal 3-family. And people were like, people already got their mindset, hey, if I get this 3-unit, I live in one, people live in another. You know, people, you have to know your numbers and where you are in the position. So I talk about 4 things. I say credit, cash, time. Now, immediately people say, well, you said credit and cash. Why you got to say them both? Because they're two different things. Right? A lot of people, that got cash, credit may not be great, right? Maybe barbershop owners, hair salon ladies, people that just have cash. Elderly, they usually have some cash. And then credit, right? A lot of people think, well, look at my score. I got this 750, girl. But yeah, you only make $20K a year. You're not going to get $1 million in unsecured credit. You're just not. There's not enough credit card tricks in the game for it right now. Just not. Okay? So then you have time. Okay? So if you're going to come to buy somebody and say, hey, I want you to partner with me, what are you bringing to that person? You have to tell them, hey, I know the business. I know what I'm doing. I can manage this. I can keep my time, my eyes on it. All you have to do is either come with the credit or the cash, right?
Yeah.
And so the best partnerships are when you have a little bit of both, right? So right now I'm buying this big deal out here in North Texas. It's 18 acres. The first 3 acres is a shop owner, right? The back acres is 15 acres, right? I'm working with someone and partnering with someone that's in the construction industry who can tell me, okay, this costs this costs that. This guy's trying to run some game on you. This guy is not legit. You have to see what each person brings to it. Because just because somebody has less money doesn't mean they have less experience. So if you want to partner with people, less is more, is what I'm going to say on that always. I usually read these little quotes. People say, yeah, just get 100 people and y'all all raise $1,000. And like, look, stop. You can't even get 4 people in a room to agree on what they're going to eat for dinner.
That's real.
So you want to take $1,000 from 100 people? No. Listen, there are several people out there who do different types of partnerships, and I salute them. But as a person who works in a higher end spectrum of that investing world, 5 or less, 4 or less. Listen, if it's just you, your brother, and you get both y'all credits are clean and nice to go, y'all got maybe $50K to go, that's a better deal every day of the week than 100 people with $100. Sorry, every day of the week, twice on Sunday. And people, it's when you get the big numbers. I say like Grant Cardone. If you look at any of Grant Cardone's investments, it's 5K, 10K, 25K. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
We thought.
Got you. I love that. And earlier you were talking about buying properties. I see people in the comments saying shout out from Houston. I know a lot of people who have moved to Texas. I'm currently here. I'm in Atlanta, born and raised, so it's cheap over here too. What are some of the advantages of moving to a place like Texas? How can people maximize those opportunities when it comes to the real estate industry, businesses as a whole?
So I know everybody's like, man, Ericka about to go on her love fest for Texas. Now listen, I was Carolina born, Carolina bred, and when I die, I'll be Carolina dead. That's the old saying. But while I'm here in Texas, I can tell you, every day we have 1,100 people moving to Texas. So we have 157 people moving to Austin today. We have 293 or 295, depends on the day, moving to Dallas today. And at one point in time, when they had better numbers before the Hurricane Harvey, you had 500 people a day moving to Houston. So you got to realize Houston's not just Houston. You're talking about Houston plus the 11 counties around Houston.
That's huge.
It's just like Atlanta. When somebody say they live in Atlanta, but then you ask them,
they be from like 45 minutes away. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same thing in Houston. You go, man, It's a good looking man. I might drive to Houston for him. Oh, I live in the Woodlands. Well, okay. Right? Or you talk to somebody and go, oh no, I live in Katy. You don't live in Houston. You live around Houston. Okay.
Right.
So for those people, what you want to express to them is Texas has a lot of opportunity, and people see it as a oasis, right? You have people literally right now, I can show you map after map, coming out of California, coming out of Michigan, coming out of New York, coming out of Pennsylvania by the thousands, right? Lots of people say basically New York's going to feed Florida for years. They're gone. They're voting politically with their feet and with their money in their pockets. So if you're here in Texas, and the saddest thing is to meet people who've lived somewhere their whole life and they can't get in. It's really not that they can't get in. They need to get out of their comfort space.
Yeah.
Go to new meetups. Go on Bigger Pockets. Go on Blacker Pockets. Connect with people. Talk with people. Again, remember those 4 things. Cash, credit, time, and experience. Honestly, really.
Yeah.
And what can you offer in that spectrum?
I love that. On your YouTube channel, Instagram page, I love how you talk about building capital and connections. How can people start to build those 2 things, which are very important?
So there's an old saying, nobody likes messy with their money.
Yeah.
Nobody does, right? And like I watched the Ozarks, and it was like,
I love that show.
Scene, right? And he's like, ain't nobody donating you because they don't like messy where their money is.
Yep.
And so you have to have a source of stability. So a lot of times people want to get to make $1 million deals and broker and this and that. And then you really break it down. Like, how much cash do you have right now? Where are you living right now? Are you stable right now to even do what you're wanting to do? There's a great book you should read. It's called Rocket Fuel.
Okay.
And it talks about visionary integrator. You need to know where you are on this. Are you a visionary with a really big vision? Or are you an integrator who loves doing the day-to-day organization, day-to-day operations? There's a place for both of them to make something grow. Because a lot of times I'm a visionary. I'm like, look, we're going to do this, 90 days, $1 million. They're like, hey, get down a notch.
Yeah.
Get down a notch. What are the steps to get us to that $1 million? And so you need to kind of pace yourself out enough to figure out what's a realistic timeline and what you have to bring to the table.
Facts. And 2, on your page, I love this. Well, pretty much everything I love on your page, but especially how you were breaking down about your job isn't meant to make you wealthy. So, and I know during this time, everybody's waking up to entrepreneurship, to having their own. For the people that's kind of afraid to make that jump to entrepreneurship and they want to, what advice do you have for them, for those who are probably just too comfortable in that day-to-day, same job, same thing?
I'm going to tell you what, you better have a lot of bullets, right? What do I mean a lot of bullets? If you're someone who's like, Ericka, entrepreneurship is not for me. Running a business, the stress, the headache is not for me.
Yeah.
Cool. I never said everybody had to, but you need to be at the highest bracket. You can't say you don't care about having a business and assets if you're only making under $45,000 a year. You can't. I don't care if you live in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. You still can't play that game. 45K is not enough. Yeah. The reason I know that is just the friends and family I deal with who've been making 120, 130 for years here in Austin. And even they are now like, whew, 10 years of work and I can take a little break. So just do the math here. If you make $45K a year times 10 years, that's $450,000. That's before tax. If you're at a job and you get $120K a year times 10 years, that's $1.2 million. That's a whole nother, you're tripled past the other person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it gives you a little bit of more bullets to play with, is what I'm using the term. If you got it, right now, I think the average credit card debt was like 13 grand. One time, I did over 6,000 phone calls. I was on the phone and this lady was like, yo, I'm a file bankruptcy. I was like, all right, let's break down these cards. Let's see what this debt is. Her number was 14 grand. That was it. She was going to try to file bankruptcy on 14 grand. I was like, honey, I'd rather you go work a part-time job, make an extra $1,000 a month for the next year and just pay $1,000 a month.
Just 12, 14 months. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can be free, but people are doing something they're using, and I'll be careful. People try to use these rich people tactics to try to free themselves.
Yeah.
And the guy who files bankruptcy that's making $10K a month is not the same as the guy who's making $2K a month filing bankruptcy. It's not the same.
Yeah.
The bounce back won't even be the same.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be in another car in a month. You are struggle, struggle, struggle. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's my 2 cents on that. But you get what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as somebody who is an entrepreneur, what's the importance of building a strong team? Because I know that you have a lot of work on your plate. So how do you build that team? And two, who do you know to even have on your team, which I believe is very important. So how do you do it?
So first, you need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. Point blank, period. I am not, and I repeat every day when people see me, I'm not a daily operations person. If you're the person who wants to talk back and forth with me on the internet all day, like, what are you doing? How's the office doing? That's not me. I have no care for that, right? I'm working on a bigger thing or bigger project. So when you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses, hire your weaknesses, right? Like, I bought a lot of courses last year just so I would know if somebody was really doing their work or BSing, right? Like, I bought the course skilled enough that if I hire you, I should know how many hours a week it takes for you to do it. So for me, I'm big on if you know what you need in any team, you need administrative stuff. You need people consistently doing outreach. If you're anybody in entrepreneurship right now, you're saying, okay, what's the first person I need? You need outreach. I know people are like, what, Ericka? You need outreach. Number 2 is admin, because they're the follow-up to the outreach, right? You should have a whole system back there. Number 3 after that is accounting, but there's a different way to say it. But my thing for me is you need to have QuickBooks, you need to have accounting, you need to have that outreach person, and you need to have a follow-up person. If you don't have those, you really don't have a business.
Wow, that's facts. And two, just seeing what you're doing, I know in the trucking industry with everything that you do with that, real estate, whatever, I know that that's a lot. And how do you deal with some of the stressors sometimes where you might have a problem if a trucker, if you may quit, or if something may be wrong with the truck, or if this deal didn't, go through? How do you deal with some of those stressors? And two, how do you maintain like a strong mindset?
So now when you know your numbers that on average every 90 days a driver quits, like this is industry averages.
Wow, every 90 days.
90 days.
Wow.
It's an average. Some people stay longer, some people stay shorter, but it's an average of 90 days. Now you prepare yourself that you can just be going on Indeed all the time. You always have an outreach person who's recruiting, retaining, right? You give safety bonus to retain people. I make sure I have a logistics manager, Chris, and I make sure I have my own team of mechanics. Why? Because I turn my phone off at 9 o'clock. I put it on do not disturb notifications at 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. sometimes, right? Usually 8 a.m. And because for me, if your truck broke on the side of the road, there ain't much I can do for you. You have to call my mechanic. I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm not a mechanic. And guess what? It's going to be the best person to call around, someone to help you. So when I realized that about me, I want to do that, right? So same thing in the morning when it comes to brokers and dispatchers and people calling you about loads. That's not me. Let me go ahead and refer you to Chris, another girl on my team named Ericka. That's right, I hired Ericka. And then also Mike, right? So I'm going to delegate those items because I am not going to be able to give full 100% energy to making, some little issue that could be big, but a little issue take up my whole day, right? Like I had to run back and forth between 2 banks, and it took up an hour and 30 minutes. And to me, that hour and 30 minutes could have been used
for something else.
Anything else.
I hear that. And when you got started in this industry, what was that aha moment for you where you were like, yo, I might have something here where this is very lucrative? What was that moment for you?
For me, it's not just about the lucrative, it's the point. Okay. A little bit of like when I would go buy the trucks, I would see every other race of people but us, right? If I saw people that looked like us, they were either older guys who finally saved their money, or they were islanders, and they were like, "No, baby, I'm Jamaican." I'm like,
"Yeah,
you me?
I'm not black.
I'm from Antigua. I'm from here." I'm like,
"Yeah,
spare me that, bud. Spare me that." I don't care. Right? You're black today. No. So it made me. It kind of was like a light bulb. Like I'll even tell people when I went to the Houston Ritchie Brothers auction, it was like Latino city up in there, right? And people were in there with fat stacks of cash. Like they're at the counter and they got 3 people deep in the counter. Cash. And I was like, pay attention, y'all. Where's the money at? This is where the money is. At this auction, right? This is where all these men are with pockets full of cash. And I just want people to pay attention. Pay attention where people are investing and buying assets. Pay attention. Yeah. The power and the ownership.
And I actually
Most people
said,
don't lose their most people don't lose their authority because of repairs or accidents. They
yeah.
lose it for paperwork.
Mm,
They lose it for paper. See, people always want to be like, oh, the insurance, the this, that. No, paperwork. They didn't do their paperwork. They didn't fill it out. They didn't keep up with it. Paperwork is what takes people out of the game.
wow. That's powerful. So what are some of those things in the paperwork that we need to understand or that we need to be knowledgeable of so we don't make those same,
Well,
the
really,
same mistakes over and over?
I mean, it's honestly a safety. You're gonna get an audit anyway your first year.
Mm, yeah.
Safety manual, upkeep, just upkeep, regular. Right now, the way the economy is, there's so many software programs out there. There's no reason. There's no reason why people are starting money, right?
Yeah.
I would get on the phone with people and I go, "Hey, do you have QuickBooks?" Oh no, I ain't got QuickBooks. It's like the cheapest keeping track of your business and your numbers and the records and the sheets you need. That's a simple one, right? Because
Yeah.
you talk to phone these guys, you're like, "What's your P&L?" Oh, I don't know. What's your balance sheet? I don't know.
No idea.
QuickBooks could have did that for you, but you just tied it to your business debit card. Another thing would be preventative maintenance, right? So there's an app we have on our software called Fleetio. We tie it into our Keep Trucking app, and it lets you know, hey, it's about time for this truck to get an oil change. It's about time for this truck to get a tire. It's about time for you to get this. And the reason you need to keep up with that is because you can schedule when the money comes out your account. You're not just getting like, boom, truck needs oil change. Boom, truck needs brakes, and you just didn't know. It's the paperwork and the attention to detail that takes a lot.
Wow. And earlier, where you were talking about, I thought was very powerful too, where you were saying how sometimes you were the only Black person and Black woman in your environment. How do we get more Black women involved in this industry, in trucking?
Well, I think you have plenty that are maybe behind the scenes or in brokering
Okay.
or in dispatching. I think there's a ton of women kind of creeping into different aspects
Yeah.
of trucking, but it'll still be male dominated for a while. I'm going I'll just tell people the stories of this past year. I would literally call places and they go, "Can I speak to your husband?
Wow.
Is Mr. Eric Williams there? Can I?" And I'm like, "Listen, I know you see that paper says Ericka. What you doing?" Like, and I would fill out this form for financing, and they're like, "Well, who are you filling this form out for? Are you dating someone in trucking? Is this truck for someone else? Is this for your brother? Is this for your cousin?" Like, financial person answer me this as I'm applying for this. Yeah. And so you have an industry that's still a little rough around the edges for what I would, that's a nice way of saying it. They're still a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a minute, but you can get into it for sure. Because I say more people look out for me because they're like, "Oh, I see more lady owners all the time,"
Yeah.
Or they're like, "Let me help you, honey." Like, I was somewhere, one of my trucks got towed in San Antonio. And I'm like distraught. I'm in the parking lot upset. And I'm like, "I need my truck moved." 4 of these guys came over like, "Hey, what do you need? What happened?" Like,
Wow.
my truck is there. And they literally called a friend and he came and towed it. Discount price.
That's amazing.
So it's like, some people will look out for you.
Yeah. I love that. And during those moments where people think that, like she can't be in charge of this, or where, people doubt you, how do you maintain your confidence? How do you stay strong?
Right. I think it's important for you to kind of like, I always say a gratitude journal. So I have the Classic Climb Planner I made this year. And the top of you write, what are you grateful for? But also you keep reminding yourself, like, who is this person? Like, I'll be on the phone with a guy who's just a mechanic in a shop somewhere in the middle of Podunk, nowhere, Wyoming. Come on, man. Like, why am I letting him get me bent out of shape?
Yeah.
Like, who knows what happened to him today that he's in that condition?
Right.
But that's not my problem. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, whatever his issue is, I'm over here still living my life.
Yeah.
And you have to remind yourself of that daily.
Yeah. I get that. I love that. And too, on your page, how I've seen you talk about your life, it can change in 1 year, which I believe to be very, very true. What are some of the steps that people can implement during this time of COVID? So by this same time of 2021, they can be in an even better situation.
Well, really, honestly, if you're at home right now, you're like, "Look, Eric, I ain't coming up out this house." You need to find what jobs, whether that's tech, whether that's something with the phones that you can do. There's no reason to come out of COVID and be like, I'm depressed and homeless because I lost everything. No, there's too many companies that are trying to figure out how do we get people to work from home in a reasonable way, right? Because right now I've called insurance companies, bank, all kind of people. They got kids in the background. They got dogs in the background. I'm like, honey, listen, I'm not anti-kid, but your 4-year-old can't be hitting you in the head with a toy for a 5-minute phone conversation. That don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, right? So you need to figure out in this sphere, where do you want to be? Because what I have a feeling, especially here in Austin, tech people, we all back out in Texas. I know y'all making fun of Texas, but we outside. We living our life. But you need to figure out, do you need to move? Do you need to be in a different industry? What is it you need to do in this time? Because COVID is probably here to stay as far as weird shutdowns and schedules and schools being weird. I mean, I've talked about it a lot in a book called Upside, talking about demographic shift. I've talked about it a lot on the channel, how you're going to see a majority of women going home. Mm-hmm. And I know people say, oh, people aren't getting married, Ericka, but last year alone, marriage certificates, licenses, you go get married, went up 60% in 1 year.
Wow.
This is before the COVID. So what's going to happen? Like, even now in Austin, people getting, like, all the wedding venues within an hour are booked up for the rest of the year. Mm. So when people try to tell me, oh, ain't nobody get married. Baby, they get married. They figuring out a budget. They're going to do some things. Like, the economy has definitely changed. And now you need to figure out where you need to get in that change. Mm. Where do you need to ride the wave? That's right. Take the wave. Yeah. So you need to figure those things out so that it benefits you.
I love that. Seeing that comment, Texas is the way. During this time of people who's moving in, you said what? It was 100 people?
1,000 people a day. It's 100,000 people moving to Austin a day.
1,000 people a day.
Moving to Dallas.
Wow.
I'm going to say this. In South Dallas, the city of Atlanta could fit inside of South Dallas.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. This is a quoting point that Dallas loves to bring up, because y'all be moving from Atlanta to Dallas all the time.
I believe it. I believe it. So how do we combat gentrification from happening, or how do we adjust to it to where we get dibs as well on the properties, on having ownership, real estate, all of that? So how do we make sure that we aren't on the outside looking in?
Don't sell grandma's house.
Yeah.
Grandma's house, right? So another thing is, like, stop looking at the neighborhood when it's completely finished. The work comes in when it's raggedy, right? The work comes in when the houses are $35,000. The work comes in at those points, right? I think a combination of what's going on in our community right now is a lot of people don't have handyman skills, or the handyman they do know aren't doing legit work.
Gotcha.
So the thought of buying something that needs work is like frustrating to us. We just want something that cash flows. JG Wentworth, give me my money right now. And that's just not possible in every situation. So for me right now, I'm looking for land because I'm going to put trailers on it, right? Or for me, I'm looking for land because I'm going to build something from the ground up. But if let's say I was in San Antonio. San Antonio got a lot of cheap property, right? Might need a little bit of work. Everywhere that you see that maybe you wouldn't live isn't where somebody else would live, right? I was in Atlanta and I drove through, what is it, Vice City? I can't remember the name, but I was
Vice City. It's a Vice City in Atlanta. You might know something I might not even know.
Look, get your life together. So I might have to. If somebody in Atlanta, help us out in the comments.
Vice City.
I was in Atlanta, and I was downtown, Midtown, and we were driving over to the local Grand.
Talking about Vinings?
Vine? Is it Vine?
Vinings? Is Vinings?
It's possible. I don't know.
Because you said the Midtown. Yeah.
It looking scary over there, okay? Yeah. And so I was looking at the properties where people were already turning them around, fixing them up, cleaning them up. And the people riding with me in the car were like, oh, I wouldn't be investing over here. And I'm like, that's just it. You're going to miss the wave because you're waiting for it to look nice.
Right.
You're looking for it to look amazing. That's not where the getting in on gentrification is. Getting in on gentrification is getting that corner lot that nobody wants because it's just an empty lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Building something. Right? So,
yeah.
You're in Atlanta, right? There's probably some places near the airport or wherever. There's a corner lot somewhere. Ain't nobody building anything on it. It's just empty. Somebody wants some money for it. Well, now you go on houseplans.com and you work with a contractor. I'm giving you the whole setup. You work with a contractor. He going to build it, a GC, a license. He going to build it. You're going to either refinance it or sell it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're not coming out of pocket with it.
Yeah, I feel that. And what you're saying is 110% true, because I went to Georgia State University, which is in the heart of downtown, and most of our student dorms and our $1 million tech labs, all that stuff used to be rundown homes, places that nobody wanted, and they flipped it. So what you're saying is completely true. Yeah. And something else too is that I love what you talk about is, I think it's the Barbell Method. I might have the name wrong, but how you break down how everything is in an 8-mile radius. So can you break down that method even more right now?
So there's a poster behind me. We'll just use it as my finger pointer. Over here is this part of Atlanta you in. It's nice, it's shiny. You want to invest in stuff around it. You really don't leave within an 8-mile radius of your home. You can test this for yourself. The grocery stores, the gas stations, the plant right those cities are in a circle. 8 miles to their neighborhoods are. So you're like, oh man, I want something over here. This is nice. You buy 1 or 2 things, appreciation maybe, but cash flow is a little tight. You go across town, Barbell Method, within a reasonable driving range. You go over here and you find where cash flow will be heavy. Cash flow will be beautiful. That's the nice word I want to use, right? And you invest over there. Slowly and surely, you start investing. Now, what happens when you start investing in the area? The first thing happened when I bought a property in Cleveland and Detroit. Other wholesalers started sending me properties they were selling. Why? Because I popped up as a new buyer, right, in that market. So now people are coming out to reach you. Why? Because you put your foot into that neighborhood as a certified owner. So now leads start coming to you. People start coming to you. Things start coming to you. You start picking up more properties in the area. You just keep building the barbell on both sides. Because if you got all nice properties in the nice side of town, ain't going to do anything, right? The nice side of town, they can stay home. They can work remotely. They ain't worried about it. Your office properties might struggle over here. Your commercial properties might struggle over here. But your homes will be consistent if people want to live in a nice house. But if you're on this side of town where it's like hood gentrification, and I'm probably going to use Durham, North Carolina. You go to Durham now, it's full of beer and pizza gardens and hipster places and coffee shops and you name it. Now, a few years ago, we talked about Durham, they're like, shoot them up, Durham.
It changed,
right?
Wow.
Just ridiculous stuff, right? But even though common sense say, okay, this house is $19,000 in Durham. Should I buy that? That's really cheap. Now, somebody's going to say, Ericka needs a lot of work. Well, now that same house in Durham is over $250,000.
Wow.
You're not getting it anymore at all.
Yeah.
I knew Durham was a move when I started seeing all my white friends moving to Durham. I'm like, what are you doing over there? I got this really cheap house, and I'm redoing it the way I want. HGTV. So
that's dope. Wow. And I love seeing your YouTube channel. You have a dope YouTube channel, dope blog. How did you get started in content? How did that start for you?
I remember talking to several people before I left North Carolina. I flipped a coin. I was supposed to get married, canceled a wedding, whole thing, send dress back, all that good stuff. And I flipped a coin. It was Nashville or it was going to be Austin. And I flipped a coin and I moved to Austin. And I started documenting when I got here, what I was seeing, what I was doing, books I was reading, just that becoming a compound effect person. Yeah. And I started interviewing people and talking to people and doing business. And as people that see my journey on YouTube, I just started reaching out to more business owners. That's all. And documenting it, putting it on YouTube.
Wow. That's cool. And for people that's trying to grow their YouTube channels, their platforms, what advice do you have for them?
So if you notice, I'm always improving the quality of the video and improving different little bits of it. You can always go back and change things. You can always go and upgrade things. Like, don't be like, well, I don't have the perfect camera. I don't have the perfect audio. I just can't do it. That's why I teach in the YouTube course. It's not the people with millions of subscribers that are making money. Yeah, a lot of them are. But like 90% of all videos on YouTube don't even get 1,000 views. So when people go, well, Ericka, you still doing that little YouTube channel? Yeah, it made me $1 million last year, and it made me $500,000 the year before. So yeah, I'm doing that little YouTube channel. Do you see what I'm saying? When you're talking 6,000 paid phone consultations, the talking to me on the phone costs $500 to $1,000. You do the math, right? It hasn't always been so much, but before that, it was a lower amount. There's a million ways to make money off YouTube. Choose one.
Yeah.
Every single person that's partnered with me came off YouTube. Wow. The deal I have here in Texas Ground Zero came from somebody watching me on YouTube.
Wow.
So it's like, you have to determine, you have to use it for you. You don't go on YouTube so you can be like, I look like everybody else. No, look like you, be you. That's how you win.
Yeah, I love that. And two, how should content creators package their content? Because I feel like some people don't know what to do with it. And step two, how do they monetize their content?
Man, listen, join my YouTube course or check some other courses out. But a lot of this stuff is, I talk to people, they'd be like, yeah, everybody be calling me, messaging me in the DMs on Instagram. And I go, why aren't you charging people for that? Why don't you just put a little $25 to talk to me for 30 minutes.
Consultation,
Right?
yeah.
Which to me, I ain't doing, but it was a trucker.
Yeah.
And he ain't doing nothing but driving his truck for hours a day. So imagine him driving and talking on the phone to you. It's you know, it's small starts that change the way what you're trying to serve them as.
I feel that. And then too, for you to be in so many different fields with trucking, with content, real estate, how do you build a positive work environment where your employees or people who work with you want to show up and want to produce work at a high level every single day?
You know, I'll probably have to do a survey of the staff on that, but I feel like we're doing good work here. Today, but I'm just joking. But really, the truth of it is you have a goal. What is the company's goal? We're helping people, serving people. We're getting this content out to help change people's lives. You know, I had a boat party last year. And people were like, "Man, I started buying stocks for my grandchildren." You know, I like completely paid off all my debt and bought a rental property. You know, watching your channel. So sometimes even when I'm frustrated and want to quit YouTube, I'm like, you've impacted thousands of people's lives, whether you ever meet them or not. They know it's possible. There's no way they don't know it's possible, right? So it's one of those things when you don't ever see anybody doing well that looks like you. When it's out here all over the internet, it's up to you to do your part and figure out.
I love that. And also, in one of your videos, something that was great was when you were breaking down about when you're in the process, you have to appreciate your progress sometimes. Yeah. And, you know, something that you said just now, of course, people have those moments of like, man, I don't feel like doing this. How do you maintain that positive mindset of knowing where you're headed and also appreciating each small win? Right.
So you got to have proper measurements, right? A lot of people get really emotional and be like, oh, I'm going to quit doing this, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people come on Instagram and do Instagram Live, and I respect it. But I'm a big, long-time YouTuber because you can Google and search and look things up for years.
Yeah.
People go back and find videos I did 6 years ago and buy products and services to this day. Yeah. Right? So you got to know the medium or the platform that works best for your type of personality, right? Yeah. Great pictures, angles, selling things. Hey, Instagram's your girl. If you're good at long-form content, interviews, all that stuff, YouTube's your better place.
Right. Yep.
When you know that, now you have to measure yourself by decent markings. What does that mean? If your goal every month is, hey, I want to get this many videos produced, I want to have this many clients every month, right? When I talk about 10K, people act like, well, 10K, I'm just trying to get 10K a month, Ericka. And I'm like, I can tell you right now, I've been in conferences and seminars and surveys and different things where 10K is very low. A lot of people hit it all the time. So now you have to do the math on how do you get to 10K with your platform.
Wow. I love that. And Ericka, for yourself, where do you see your business, you overall as a person within the next 5 to 10 years?
Hey man, I'm on my way out the door. I'm like, I'm going to have some babies. I'm out of here, man. I'm gonna definitely do some more traveling, some kiddos. And right now for me, I'm just kicking off the Texas Ground Zero enough because it will be such a bucket that bucket will spill over and fill any project. So when you got to know your numbers enough to know, hey, if I do this one project, I got millions, and I can do other projects, or I can take a break, or I don't have to hustle as hard, and I can refocus towards the other part of me. And I always tell people, get out a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
What does 5 years from now look like? What does 10 years from now look like? Are you working in that direction?
Fact.
I've seen people literally lose 90 pounds in a year just because they did one thing every single day. Yeah. Every single day. They just got focused. Right?
Yeah.
And, you'll see people just drift in life. You cannot do that. You have to aim at your target.
Yeah, I feel that. And real quick, can you break down your current project, Texas Ground Zero?
Texas Ground Zero, essentially, it's a truck stop in the front. It's 15 acres in the back. It'll be probably one of the largest truck parking areas over here in this central part of Texas. Probably at the end of the project, probably have 500 trucks in and out daily parking, paying $22 a day, something like that. The truck repair shop will probably, if not triple, quadruple the income it makes now. It'll have food trucks in the front of it. And people who come to my boat party will get a tour of the property on that Saturday before we go to dinner. So.
Nice. And Ericka, very last question. Where can everybody follow you and keep up with all of your work?
The best place you can find me right now is Ericka's Classy Climb on YouTube and on Instagram. It's a great place to find me. 9 times out of 10, if you message me, you're actually talking to me. If not, you're talking to my staff. Pretty quickly in response here. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Ericka, thank you so much for your time. I know you're probably extremely busy. This will be posted on YouTube probably sometime next week. So thank you again. And keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You be safe.
You too.